Welcome back to the final episode of Inside Franklin and Marshall Wrestling as the 2016-2017 season comes to an end here after the EIWA weekend at Bucknell. Jack Heffer alongside head coach Mike Rogers. And coach, some good results. No NCAA qualifiers, but Mancini, Rob King, Patty Quinlan, they were right there. I mean, Mancini had a tough draw against the number 2 seeded Steve Schneider out of Binghamton. And then Patty Quinlan, unbelievable match against Sacred Heart. And then Robbie King, almost a win in the round of 16, almost got a championship bracket win. How proud are you of your guys, and what does this say about how they progressed during the season?
I definitely think the effort was there. Our guys, wrestled hard. They, and scoring any type of points at the conference is tough. We have one of the second toughest conference outside the Big Ten, so every match is tough. There's no easy matches, and if you're not seeded, you're going to hit a ranked guy. So, a lot of our guys drew a top seeded guy, but that's also the bed you made. You have to wrestle through that, and I think we gave everyone that we wrestled, all they can handle. So I'm not disappointed in anybody's effort. I mean, I think everybody put it all on the line. There's still things we got to clean up. We got to get over that hump. I don't think we're not satisfied. I don't think this is as good as we can get. I don't by any means. I don't think that if you ask the guys, I think they would agree too. They want to win. They want to be at the NCAAs. They don't want to just hand someone a tough win. They want to win those close ones. But last year, some of those guys didn't even make it that far. And year before that, I don't think we scored more than a point or two. So you're seeing progress. We're definitely closing the gap. We still got work ahead of us. We're not satisfied at any means. We still have high expectations for ourselves, our coaching staff, and the guys. So just a lot of work to be done. But in terms of effort and heart and desire, I can't say any negative about any of that stuff.
And that's at a point in the program now where it's an expectation to get those NCAA qualifiers, which is great. And next season, it looks like a lot of guys coming back in the lineup. Of course, Robbie King and Edgar Garcia, the 2 seniors who are graduating, but you still have some guys, especially Veluzzi, who was an NCAA qualifier in 2016, who are coming back into the lineup. Can we talk about kind of next year? And I know it's very early on, but kind of how that expectation that you talked about of we're going to get to the NCAAs is going to fit into next year's lineup.
Yeah. No, it's never too early to start talking about next year. We've already started plotting and planning, and guys come back from spring break, they start freestyle. So it's never too early. But, yeah, next year looks bright. Our future looks bright. We're losing some guys, but we have a lot of guys returning, not only that were in the lineup, but also guys that took redshirt years, and a lot of our freshmen that you haven't heard much about, like Brett Culp and Cole Aaron, and even Steven Marcadante. And we've been plagued with a lot of injuries this year, more than I can imagine. We got to address that. Some of these injuries were pre-existing coming in from a lot of these freshmen. So we got to look at our training, get input from our training staff and how we're lifting and things like that. And sometimes you can't do much about that. It's just, bad luck and, zig when you're supposed to zag type of thing. But our future looks bright. Our freshmen coming in, the guys that are redshirting with Pelusi leading the way, coming back, NCAA qualifier, he's very hungry. Actually, the kid from Drexler was in the finals he beat last year. So, I mean, he sees these guys that he has beaten and competed with at the NCAA tournament, so he's more driven and motivated than ever to not only get to the NCAA tournament but to place. And that carries over, that expectation carries over to everyone else. And you're right, in years past, there wasn't really an expectation, it was a hope. Now it's a disappointment if we don't get guys to the NCAA, and that's a good thing.
And that speaks volumes about the program and where the direction that the program is headed in. Speaking of the direction it's headed in, you talked a little bit about the freshman class so far. 2 guys who wrestled in the EIWAs with some good experience. Also, 2 redshirt freshmen. A lot more redshirt wrestlers this season than in past seasons, and that's pretty good if you're redshirting a year and then getting a guy back in the lineup with a little bit more experience. Can you talk about this freshman class and how they're going to help this program moving forward?
Yeah, our incoming class, we're going to bring at least 3 freshmen coming in. There's still some regular decision candidates that have to be decided upon. But right now we have 11 incoming freshmen, which is, again, another solid class for us. So our numbers are going to be there. And 3 out of the 11 are PG guys, so post-grad, that are going to be a little bit older, a little bit more mature. But what I like about this incoming freshman class, they're all very hungry. and they have high expectations. And they're what I call, they have that little bit of grit, kind of like the Rob Kings and the Edgar Garcias. We're getting a lot more of that. The guys are just hungry, ready to fight and scrap. Their technique, their wrestling's a little raw. We have to clean some of that up, but that's fixable. That's stuff that we can work with. You can't teach heart and desire, and I think the class we have coming in is very hungry. So it's going to motivate the guys returning too, because there's no open spots. So you're going to have to fight for your spot just in the program, which makes everybody better.
And you talk about the intangibles, the heart and the desire and the work ethic. We've seen guys like Josh Young and Anthony Mancini who have come in who didn't initially get the success that they were looking for in their first season, but now as they're moving forward, it's an expectation to get to that NCAA qualifying. And Mancini, he was maybe a reverse or a takedown away from a couple of big wins this year. That speaks volumes about what you guys are doing as a program right now, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a perfect example. He's been right there with some of the top guys. Marilyn Martin that just won the Big Ten, he took into overtime at Midlands, and actually took him down twice, So that gives him a lot of confidence. Big thing with Mancini is the consistency. He has to wrestle like that each week. And so that, we got tons of guys, Patty Quinlan and Danny Martaccio did a great job this year, put in a great summer, and they're just on the bubble. They're same thing, they're right there beating one or two more good guys. And plus, you beat that one tough kid, that one kid that gets you over the top, your whole outlook, your whole season, your whole way you train, way you carry yourself changes. So I think all of those guys are just one match away of beating a good kid that completely changes their whole trajectory of their season and their career.
So we talked a little bit about improvement from year to year, and this program continuing to improve. This year, anything specific that you can note that this program got better at and that they're going to take in next year?
I think the biggest thing that this team dealt with more than any other team is probably some adversity. We went through 3 coaching changes, athletic trainer change that was also our lifting coach, and also guys being hurt, so guys had to step in the lineup, guys had to get weigh in and move up in weight class. So I think this year, more than any, they've learned how to deal with adversity and how to adjust and overcome it. And I think more importantly, wrestle for the program, for the team. If the team needs me to up a weight class, then that's what I need to do. If I need to step out of the weight class to give us the best option, then that's what I do. So I think overall, in dealing with coaching changes and all the things that we had to do this year, really, I think it tests you as an athlete dealing with all that change, because athletes are very fragile creatures sometimes. They like consistency, they like balance, they like knowing what's going to happen day in, day out, and there's a lot of change that happened, and they had to adjust to it. So I think that's going to make them stronger, better people, and also better athletes in a better program going forward.
Lastly, this wrestling team, there's a lot of characters on this team. Any moments to you stuck out to you that were just kind of a fun moment in the season, either something on or off the mat that you really that stuck with you and you're going to take with you?
Geez, there's so many stories. From I think the biggest character on our team is probably Stillerman. I mean, he's probably the most happy-go-lucky kid. But I remember before he told me that before he was walking out, to stop him and like. Before he went out, he looked at me. I'm like, "You got your singlet on backwards," so we had to have him go back and change his singlet.
Delay the match a little bit.
Yeah, so freshman things, so you kind of shake your head at that. At Midlands when we got into the wrong car twice. There's all kinds of stuff, and it just Pelusi's always. There's always something going on with Pelusi. He's usually picking on Coach Borgia, then he pays for it later.
Yeah, he seems to be scheming in the back of most dual meets with Borgia.
Yeah, he's you got to keep an eye on him because he's subtle. But and all those guys, I like all the guys, Patty Quinlan and Danny Martaccio. They all have their unique quirks and things. It makes it interesting, keeps it lively. I think a lot of it, I don't know. If you ask my assistants, they probably deal with a lot more than I do. But
maybe you don't even want to know.
Yeah, some of them I don't know if I want to know. But those are some of the stories. Singlet on backwards. Years past, I had guys go out with cell phones in their singlet. I mean, there's been we can spend a whole episode on just. I should write a book on things I've experienced. So, yeah.
Never a dull moment for a D1 wrestling coach. Mike, thank you so much for joining us throughout the entire season. It was great talking to you guys and, of course, your wrestlers. And we're excited for next season. I know I'm excited for next season. It seems like a lot of things are building in the right way, and that next season's promising. We're going to see some NCAA qualifiers from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, that's the hope, and I'd like to thank all you guys for covering our, the program and allowing us to get our message out there, and the great job you guys doing for the dual meets. I know our fans love the commentary, love the video stuff that you guys do, and all our fan support on and off the road. Every time we go somewhere, whether it's Harvard or Sacred Heart, there's always people, alumni that come in and say hi, that live in the area. So it's good that people are starting to reach out to us, and that the biggest thing for us is we want people to be proud of the program, the school to be proud of the program, the alumni, the past wrestlers. We want them proud and hold their head up when they say, F&M or Franklin Marshall Wrestling. It should mean something, have an impact. And if we're doing that, I think we're doing our job. And our guys are working hard. Like I said, we start freestyle, as soon as they come back, and we're going to be training all summer long and making the improvements and adjustments. And that's what we're about. And, hopefully we get more support, and you want the success to follow. And sometimes it takes longer than you hope, but you just keep plugging away.
Of course, we need to thank you, the fans and the viewers, and everybody who followed Franklin Marshall Wrestling this season. Last episode here on Inside F&M Wrestling. We'll be back next season without a doubt, and we'll keep you in tune until then.